Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to On Texas Football, and welcome back to the Winning Drive, the primetime edition. I'm lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers, pleased to be joined by fellow lifetime Longhorn, the young prodigy, C.J. Vogel, and our own coach, former high school football coach at Vernon, Capel, Brownwood, Belton, Rutan, also played college football at App Christian, coach there as well, was on the staff at the University of Texas for multiple head football coaches. And these days you can catch his work at ShipleyRanches.com. It's our own coach, Bob Shipley. What's going on, Coach? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all?
Ooh, feeling good, Coach. Feeling good. What you got? You like you had a job or something?
I am.
That's right.
Cold up here.
Yeah, no doubt.
Cold up in here, bud.
Little cold spell. Yeah. A little. Even Austin right now, it's a little chilly, but I think it's gonna be hot again tomorrow. So this, and they call this like the second winter in Austin. Always gets cold right before it gets hot again. So that's the way it goes. We got a lot to get into on the show, of course, but the show is all about you. So you guys throw out your questions, comments, whatever you guys want to talk about. Super chats always jump to the front of the line. You can interrupt the show at any time. So we appreciate all of you guys out there and gals for joining us this evening. We can talk Texas in the tournament, of course, men's and women. We also can get into, we're going to get into the Jonah Williams conversation. We'll start there. The news dropped today that Jonah Williams is going to have season-ending surgery, so his baseball season is over. Looks like he'll be cleared in time for football, but he's definitely going to miss all of the most of the off-season conditioning, and so he's going to work himself into football shape actually in football season. We'll talk about that. Also, I want to get into Heather Dinich had an article about just kind of news, notes, and nuggets from spring football across the landscape in Texas was mentioned as well. So I want to get to that conversation. Let's start, guys, with the two-sport star Jonah Williams. I just spoke to Jonah Williams like this weekend. Got a chance to talk to Jonah Williams at the Burnt Orange Carpet event to celebrate the Blue Ribbon Elite Athletes that Nike just signed. And he's one of the guys I spoke to, and I had to ask him. And you could tell some people didn't want me to ask him. I was like, I'm going to ask him. And I was like, what's your first love? I had to ask him, what's his first love? And he said, I was expecting him to say football or baseball. I tried to put the young man in a compromising position. I wanted to put him on the spot. He said basketball. Kid's smart. His first love of basketball. I tried to put him on the spot, and even his people were like, "Man, don't go there, man. We don't be going there." Nope, he said it was basketball. So, but he's smart. He understands this. But let's get you guys' thoughts. I got to hear it, Coach. You first, because CJ's been covering it all day. What are your thoughts about Jonah Williams? He's had injuries now. Every season he's been at Texas. And even before that, his senior season, he had some injury issues there in high school that ended his season prematurely. What are your thoughts about the two-sport star and a lot of people's opinion that maybe he needs to focus on just one?
Yeah, I think that's probably true. If he hadn't had the history of injuries, that would be one thing. There hadn't been many people that have been able to pull that off, two sports at a high level at a place like University of Texas. But, with shoulder surgery, he's going to have to make a decision. And honestly, I don't know what that decision is going to be, but it's going to be hard for his shoulder to, it's hard enough to make it through a football season and an off season and spring training and everything, and stay injury free. Then you throw baseball in there. It's a tough thing. And I'm certain, I don't know all the ins and outs of how serious the surgery is. And I am not really understanding, or I'm not privy to all the injuries he's had up to this point, but he's going to have to make a choice. It sounds like to me.
Yep. Yeah. CJ, he responded to you.
Yeah,
Jonah, I guess you talked to Jonah this weekend too a little bit, because he responded to your tweet. You had a tweet that actually, I think you listed kind of his injury history, really, did you not? So it was facts in there. CJ wasn't just putting his opinion, but I think you put your opinion down. I mean, I believe he responded with a laughing emoji to CJ's tweet. So I love that CJ's tweets. Now we know from Sark and from players that the players pay attention to what CJ tweets out. That's a beautiful thing, CJ. How you feel, man? It's good. Even when they coming at you, it still got to feel good.
Yeah, I guess I can't get away with what I used to on the bird machine anymore. So obviously got to be aware of that. But no, I don't mean to obviously rag on Jonah. Getting injured sucks, right? Losing your season sucks. That's horrible, right? It's unfortunate. But for Jonah's sake, I do think it's time moving forward to pick one or the other. And it's probably going to be best for him physically, but mentally as well. And we talked about a little bit about that earlier with Jeff Howe and Jerry Hamilton and I discussing when this news originally broke. Because look, we brought up Jordan Whittington and playing 5 years at Texas. And, for 3 years or so, you never truly got to see what kind of talent Jordan Whittington was because of a groin issue or a hamstring issue or a collarbone or whatever it was. It kept Jordan Whittington sidelined. And so, yeah, it's probably very unfortunate and frustrating for Jordan at the time to have to deal with all of these injuries. It was frustrating for the coaching staff to deal with all of these injuries. But beyond that, what does that mental side of things look like for Jonah? Like, again, here are some of the numbers, because he broke a collarbone or clavicle in high school that kind of robbed him of his senior high school playoff push. Since then, he 15 starts last year. Baseball dealt with hamstring issues, some soft tissue issues last spring. That then led its way on into football season, in which he only saw 71 snaps for the Longhorns on the field. Only 3 games in which he saw 10 or more snaps. This year already, you feel like he's getting close and back to full strength, and he was, right? He was expected to be a guy that hit 5th or 6th in the lineup, playing in the left or right field for the Longhorns. Well, you dive, you mess up a shoulder. Now you're having season-ending surgery after just 7 starts for Texas baseball, and you're sitting again saying, all right, how much longer will this linger into football season as well? So it's fantastic that you're able to play both, but at the same time, the down effects are you don't get any time off. You don't get any of that strength and conditioning program and weight training to specialize and, 1, get your body to recover, but 2, build it back up for the next season. It's just a constant go. So I hope for sure that he's able to get on the field and stay healthy this fall. But at the same time, I have to be realistic and say it's probably time that he picks one so that his body can fully reach the potential that we've seen in one or the other dating back to his high school days.
No, man, it's tough because I'm with you. And I think ultimately with his injury history, all right, and just kind of looking at just 2 sports he plays and where he can maximize value, you're definitely going to pick the sport that has violent collisions and the one that has more guaranteed money for a guy like that. And I also, this injury history you threw out there, CJ, and great job with the breakdown. It's crazy because it's pretty close to to my professional career. I had a collarbone injury early on in my NFL career, and I had 2 other shoulder surgeries on my rotator cuff. So I was a DB that had shoulder issues when I got to the league, and I'm a corner. I'm not even a safety. I was playing a lot of special teams. So I was hitting back then. You actually had to hit on special teams, basically in little car crashes every game. So yeah, I was a gunner and run down on kickoff and get into those violent collisions, which is where some of those injuries happen. But as a safety, you have those routinely play after play, especially a guy with his size. And I talked about how big he was. That you want that guy in the box. You want to be doing a lot of exotic things with him. If you're getting injured playing baseball, the soft tissue injuries, that's obviously, the hamstring thing could be a concern. That also would suggest baseball is a better alternative. In baseball, they are, because of the guaranteed money, they're more likely, even if you have injury issues, they're more likely to take a chance and invest in potential than the NFL is. Yeah. NFL don't invest in potential like they used to. They used to, but now they're like, man, we need to, if we don't see it in the first couple of years and you're an injury prone guy, man, we moving on. We invested in other stuff. Did baseball invest in you? Sorry, go ahead, CJ.
I was going to ask you, what does that do for your mental side, knowing that my shoulders have had previous injuries? I've had to be wary of how I hit people now. In a game like football, you don't have time to react. And the ones when you do react, that's how you then get hurt, right? You play the game slower than instinctual. Was that top of mind for you, the way that you attacked and hit, knowing your shoulders were kind of compromised?
No doubt. Especially, yeah, there's no question. You're not human if you're not, thinking about, hey, all right, I'm going to run full speed into this person. But I just broke my collarbone. All right, so you know what? I literally still feel the indentation of the collarbone where they put the rod through it. So there's no doubt he would be a little bit, cautious early on. I think all athletes are when they come back from injury initially until they get that confidence back again. But the big thing, and you brought this up, CJ, is you lose that off season to strengthen everything, to build the armor around whatever the injury is and to strengthen it. You basically lose. He's going to take him, 4 to 5 months, whatever it is, just to get back to the point where, all right, now I can lift things and I got full mobility and full rotation of his shoulder. Depending on I don't know the injury. I don't know the severity of it either. I don't know that. But either way, he's going to miss season in terms of strengthening that shoulder and his upper body too. So, I'll say this. I fully support the young man's dream to want to play 2 sports. I wanted to do it when I was younger. I wasn't good enough. All right. I tried baseball, terrible hand-eye coordination, kept getting hit in the face with the ball. Tried basketball, stopped growing at 5'9". That wasn't going to happen either. So it was basically track. And see, it was decided for me, coach. You going to be track or you going to be football? Them go 2 sports. I admired the guys Jonah Williams is huge. Said his first love was basketball. I believe it. If you stand next to him, he's huge. He can play basketball. And then, of course, can play, baseball and football at a high level. So I do support the dream. And he's only a sophomore. So I'm gonna support it a little bit longer if he wants to do it. It's clear him responding to CJ with the laughing emoji that he still wants to play 2 sports. So I'm gonna support it because I want to do it, and I'm a little bit selfish. I still want to keep my prediction alive that if he reaches his upside and ceiling as a player, he could win the Thorpe. And I do. I think he's that talented. He's the only player I watched high school film about and said that. That I was like, no, if he reaches his ceiling, but I don't. To CJ's point, coach's point, I don't know if he ever gets there with his attention divided. I don't know if he gets there. Maybe he's got to be fully focused, but I'm going to support it because, man, I wish I could have did. I'm just jealous. I wish I could have did it. If I could have been, you wouldn't have been able to stop me from playing 2 sports, especially when I'm making money. I know
in both.
The NIL is going to change, but right now I'm making money to play both. I'm playing both. I'm going to be like Deion Sanders. I'm going to throw Gatorade on some reporter in the locker room for questioning my loyalty to the team because I want to play both. I'm going to play both just because it's such a rare accomplishment. 1%ers playing college sports, the 1%ers of the 1%ers playing multiple sports. Man, it's too tempting as an athlete. And you know what he told me? I said, so what drives you? What motivates you? He said, competition. I just want to compete. I just like competing. Really, it ain't really the sport, it's the competition. I'm addicted to that. Like MJ was, right? It's like MJ was gambling all the damn time, right? Just because you want to compete. And you do like that, having the guys having that trait. And he has that trait. Even Schloss has said that about him too. And players have talked about that. So I'm going to support the young man and his vision and his dream. But there ain't no doubt, bro, the smart decision right now, if you were to choose, and you probably, when you have to choose baseball. Because all he needs is one good season, guys. He's such a physical freak. Y'all don't understand. All he needs is one. Look, Kyler Murray just had one good season. Well, you act like Kyler Murray was balling. He wasn't balling out the whole time. He had one good season in football. He had one good season in baseball. Top 10 pick in both. Why? Go watch him. He's a physical freak. And that Jonah will be the same way. If Jonah has one good, healthy season, teams will be like, I'm going to take a chance on that guy.
Yeah.
Because he's that freakish physically. I'm telling you. Yeah. But that's the whole thing. He's got to have that one good season. Go look at Kyler Murray's background. Did Kyler Murray ball out any other year football-wise other than that 1 year?
Just the one. Just
the one. And in baseball, I think he had 10 home runs that year too, or whatever it was in baseball. Boom, top 10 in both. We're using common sense applied to somebody who does not have common ability. It's uncommon ability, and we want to use common sense to try to apply to it. And I get that. And I'm not saying we're wrong about, hey, man, you make the common sense wrong. But his whole life he's been told, nah, you can't do that. He's been doing superhuman, uncommon things forever. He lives in the extraordinary. So I'm not going to doubt him. I'm going to support him. I'm going to support the young man. Go do your thing, dog, because nobody else can do it. How many other people at Texas right now playing 2 sports? He's
the one.
He's the only one. Man, I wouldn't give that up. You think about how good is that when you walk out and you want to talk to the ladies, you go, oh, I'm the only dude playing two. I play both. We play both? I play both. I'm the only all these dudes out here. I know you think they sexy. I play both. I'm the alpha of all the alphas. I'm the biggest alpha out here. You can't, that's hard to turn down, I'm telling you.
Yeah, but you know what? When you're 40, 50, 60 years old, your alpha body's going to be feeling that. You know, so here's the thing, in my opinion. It's easier to make it to the bigs as a football player because there's no minor league. Either you make it or you don't.
That's fair.
Minor league, baseball, there's going to be minor league and so forth. But the longevity of a Major League Baseball player is much longer than a pro football player. Plus, your body doesn't take the beating that it does in football, especially as a defensive back. So I wish him all the best. I would love to see him at DKR. I think he's incredible. But, in terms of what's best for his body, and I don't know, how did he actually – was it a throwing injury or was it –
He was diving for a ball in the outfield.
Diving for a ball. Yeah.
I'd have to go back and watch the specific, attempt. But shoulder kind of rolled on him, is what I was told. So,
yeah.
And one shoulder injury does make susceptible to others. I'll say that too. I know that for a fact. That's why I had multiple shoulder surgeries.
the which is what we're hoping to prevent here, right?
Yeah.
At the safety spots, shoulders are important. We've talked about that. I will say, look, I'm with you, Rod, all the way through. If you're able to do it, do it. That's something that the tiniest percent of all the top 1% athletes in the world can do. And Jonah, from what we've seen, a guy who in SEC play only last year hit 327 as a freshman. That's not easy to do. We know the talent, the potential is there on the gridiron. We know the talent and the potential. We've seen a little bit more of that on the diamond or there as well. Yeah. He's an elite prospect in both. My fear is that because we see these injuries so consistently, we don't see him being full-time elite in one of them by the time he departs. And that's the ultimate fear for me with Jonah because he has all the talent in the world in both. And if we don't see it specifically in at least one, that would be so unfortunate for you, for me, for Coach, for Matthew, for everybody in the chat, for Texas fans, for folks who just like college sports. To be able to see it for at least 1 year in one sport. Because at this point, I mean, we're 3 for 3 and seasons being shortened to injury.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, I hate to say this, but why would I not suspect something like this again in the fall, given he's had 0 time off, 0 time to rest and recover, 0 time to work on his body? It's just kind of the name of the game in the SEC especially. So, look, rooting for him, all the best. I loved Jonah as a kid, and he's so infectious as a guy on your sideline.
Yeah.
Guy on your dugout. We've heard Schloss say that. We've heard Sark say that. He is the ultimate teammate as well, and that's why this is probably even more unfortunate because of the character and the kid that comes with it. So I hope this fall we finally get to see him 100% for a consistent amount of time, especially knowing that a path to a starting spot is his right now. He could be your guy next to Jelani, in which you'd have 2 6'3" guys running around taking heads off in the back end. So that's what I'm hoping for. Wow. Imagine that.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that, but that's what this spring. There's a safety spot open, and there are guys right now, battling for that job. And Jonah could have, he won't be. Could have been one of those guys. It still can be. I mean, you got the obviously training camp be a part of that too. I see folks here saying no more diving for baseballs. Alan said after being told not to dive. Was he told not to dive? If he was told not to dive and dove anyway, that just shows what a competitor he is. Can't turn that off. You can't turn
that's
it off.
Instincts. That's a playmaker trying to make a play.
Yep. I think that's basically what you're dealing with Jonah. So it's an interesting conversation. But there's no doubt that the smart decision is to just choose baseball. There's no question. I don't want people to think I don't know what the smart decision is. Oh, I know what the smart decision is. You should, like Coach said, choose baseball. You play longer, guaranteed money. No matter if you get hurt in the NFL, they'll put you on IR and they'll take like a big chunk of your salary away from you. Like, nah, you're on IR. That's how the NFL works. All right, It don't work like that. Everything you sign for, you get all that money, no matter what happens to you, no matter how many games you. And the average, I don't know, the average career span's got to be twice, maybe 3 times as long. If a major leaguers as NFL players average career is like 3 years, 3.5 years. So yeah, that's the smart decision. But man,
there's guys that hadn't played in the major leagues for a while that are still making millions of dollars because of a contract they got.
Yeah.
Well, what's the guy's name? Still getting paid?
Bobby Bonilla.
Bobby Bonilla. Yeah, that's right. So NFL stands for not for long. MLB stands monetary long term, baby.
I don't know if you freestyle that, Coach, or you heard that somewhere, but that was
I just made it up.
That's good.
That was fantastic. I was like, I don't know where Coach going. Money long term, baby. You're damn right about that. It is. It's long money. All right. So Jonah, best of luck to Jonah Williams. I think we're just fans of Jonah. That's why we're discussing it. So but I'm interested to see, what his camp decides and all that kind of stuff about his future. I don't know, right? Coach is on it today. I love it. Doug says, coming out of high school, coachship is turned. Yeah, no, coachship is always turned. We love that. Doug says, coming out of high school, where was Jonah drafted in baseball?
I don't believe he was drafted. I think he had made it very clear that he was going to go to college and try to play both. And as a result, teams
stayed away.
Draft position in the MLB is so.
Yeah.
The MLB draft has more rules and regulations than any other draft because you got to work with your slot and your allotted money per round and per pick. That if you have any indication to pro scouts or executives that you're going to college for sure, your rights are then falling like you're on a slide basically. So I don't think he was drafted at all.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that, Doug. And Jay wants to know, but has Jonah even had a chance to show how truly good he is at baseball? Not completely, but he definitely has got a chance to flash in baseball. He's had several starts. He had 7 starts this year? Was it 7?
7 starts this year. Texas has played 19 games. And then last year, Texas upwards of 60, 65 games. Again, he started in 15, played in 20. So limited role, but still you see glimpses. I mean, he's a career 300 hitter. So,
I mean, and I guess, yeah. So, I think baseball, he's shown a lot more. Football is where he really actually hasn't gotten a chance to flash like that. We've seen him in some of those quarter packages where they have 7 DBs on the field. They were using him as that in defender in their 3 high look, which was interesting. But I'd love to see him actually, get a chance to get in the rotation with the safeties a little bit, but we shall see. All right, good conversation. Let's thank our lead sponsor, Von Lane, before we move on and dive into some more topics. We appreciate our friends over at Von Lane, and you will as well. Von Lane, folks, right now, I just had to drop somebody off at the airport, and it's crazy. All right, we won't get into all of the politics of it at these salacious headlines, but you want to stay away from the airport if you can. TSA is crazy. You got spring break going on. A lot of folks traveling. The security lines are crazy. Our friends over at Von Lane, they provide a first-class travel experience on the ground. You board in minutes at a private hotel terminal, settling to just 22 oversized leather seats. You enjoy complimentary Wi-Fi, snacks, beverages, and hot towel service on every trip. They even have complimentary meals on select departures. They've actually upgraded their entire Wi-Fi, their entire fleet, and the Wi-Fi with Starlink internet. So now it's faster and more reliable. Von Lane serves Austin, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Fort Worth, Plano, the Woodlands, Memphis, Nashville, Atlanta, Knoxville. And if you're traveling with a team or a group, you can charter your own Von Lane coach and design the trip from pickup to drop off. You can visit vonlane.com. And if it's your first time riding, just use the code OTF26. That's OTF26 at checkout, and you'll receive $20 off your first ride with Von Lane. I've taken Von Lane several times myself for personal reasons, to visit family. I've taken it on business trips as well. I would highly recommend. My wife is taking the Von Lane. She's a big fan of it too. So I'd highly recommend, especially around this time of year, whether you got business trips to go to or you're just going to travel to meet family and friends. Try Von Lane at vonlane.com, your private jet on wheels. All right, let's get back to some of the topics, you guys. Heather Dinich, who covers college football, she posted a piece over on ESPN, and she basically like news notes and nuggets from around college football, from spring football, and Texas was listed. And one of the things she brought up about Texas was a quote from Sark, about the offense. Says here, Coach Steve Sarkisian is expecting the Longhorns to have a more explosive offense this fall, and that's when we're at our best, he said. He also went on to say that they want to get back to the two running backs they have, versatile backs who can catch the ball out of the backfield, which is something we like to do. We did have that at our disposal a year ago. And he also, here in this piece, Sark said there are some real pieces in place that we feel very confident about. I will be a better running football team, but I definitely think we're going to be more explosive offensive football team, which is something that we're accustomed to. So explosive offense seems to be a common theme in this report from Heather Dinich about the Texas offense. And I've been saying that too, that I think it's going to be top 10 most explosive offense and generating explosive plays. Everybody's definition of explosive is a little bit different, but I do think they get back to the top 10. They were 50th, I believe, this past season. 2024, you were the best team in the country at generating explosive plays. And to me, that's what Sark does as well, if not better, than any other offensive play caller in college football. That to me is his calling card. You want to ask me what his elite quality is? What does he do, as well, if not better than other play callers out there? I think generating explosive plays. And last year, they didn't do that. They didn't do that very well. I think this year, that's going to be kind of the identity of the offense. And after that, they're going to be able to build on some other steps that they do really well. But overall, they're going to get chunk yardage plays.
Yeah. And to get them out of the backfield too, right? That running game is expected to take a significant leap forward, given that the offensive line is figured out from the start. But just hearing that a little bit more about Smothers and Brown, versatile enough to catch the ball out of the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
Sign me up. Where did Jaden Blue make his most money? At the University of Texas. He goes on those little swing passes in the flat, get the ball in space, and let his speed and creativity with the ball in his hands work. And that's a lot of where Jaden Blue was his best, in my opinion. So Texas now has two guys with similar skill sets, right? Raleek Brown, very similar skill set. Hollywood Smothers. We've talked about the make you miss ability of both of those guys. Just find ways to get the ball in the hands of the guy that is the least respected in the passing game, according to Sark. And he's gone on record a number of times saying, use your running backs in the passing game. You got two guys that are very capable of doing that, and they were both first-team running backs in their conferences, respectively, a year ago. So that's what I want to see. More explosivity from the running game and the running backs in particular, because that'll free up just about everybody else.
Yeah. Coach, what are your thoughts about the offense and Sark talking about how explosive he thinks they can be this upcoming season?
Yeah, I think again, the X factor is going to be the offensive line. I mean, you could talk about those guys all you want to, but we're not going to know. Just like last spring, we were hopeful, but it didn't pan out. If the offensive line can put together a reasonable effort, they don't have to be the best in the country. Okay, they just have to be serviceable. To let Hollywood and Raleek and Cam and Ryan and all those guys do their thing. There's no doubt we have the tools at our skill positions, but again, I've been burned too many times. Show me the money.
Yeah.
Show me that offensive line and what they can do up front. And if they're what we hope they're going to be, then yes, I agree with Coach. It could be one of the most explosive offenses that he's had.
Hey, Coach, I got a take that you're not going to like. So I'm just going to lay it out. I'm going to tease it a little bit. We did a roundtable video.
Are you going to tell me offensive line doesn't matter? Is that the take you're going to do?
No. Contrary. Quite the contrary.
That's blasphemy on these airways.
But we did our OTF. We did a big roundtable hot takes after 1 week of spring football video this weekend. And my hot take, and this is after 1 week of practice, right? So it's hot. It's really hot. There have been 5 SEC teams that have scored 40 points or more since 2021 when Sark joined Texas. I said Texas is going to be one of those teams. They're going to score 40 points per game.
That's a pretty hot take.
But the tools, what they got, and
how many times are you going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe?
When has Texas had this much skill set talent?
If you don't have the offensive line to block for them or protect for Arch, then it's a banana in the tailpipe.
Yep.
Okay.
They're pulling the string as I'm checking.
What movie was that, Rod?
The banana in the tailpipe?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, man, that's old school. Oh, no.
Beverly Hills Cop? Come on now. I'm not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe again. Eddie Murphy, come on, man.
We're pointing at Rod for not knowing.
You might be right, because it's been a while since I've seen, I ain't gonna lie, since I've seen Beverly Hills Cop. It's been a minute. But it is a classic. It's a classic now. It's a classic. All right. And I have seen it. I'm like CJ's probably haven't seen it at all. But no, I think CJ's take is actually, I don't think it's that crazy. I don't think it's that crazy. Coach is right. O-line's got to be more than just serviceable. They got to actually have to do something well in order for you to score that many points. And if they just pass protect really well, remember in 2024, you had some issues at times running the football, but you were one of the best pass protection units in the country. So at least you can rely on getting Quinn some protection at times. This past season, you didn't run block well, and you were one of the worst pass protection units in the country. So you just didn't have anything you could really rely on. So sorry,
went 35 2 years ago.
Yes, exactly. So I think they're going to be a good pass protection unit. And I think that's going to be the strength of the team. Here's the thing with Sark. I think Sark's got to get back to being a creative mind. He was way too bland and vanilla last year. Now, that could be when you have an offensive line that don't pass protect and it can't run block, then what the hell, Robbie, you want me to do? You want me to open up the playbook? You know what I mean? So I can't get I really can't criticize Sark, because I think he was just working with the offensive line, the efficiency of the offensive line that he had with him, right? So he couldn't get deep into some of the really exotic creative concepts. But this season, you have upgraded the O-line. You got to get back to that pony package that was really successful when you had Bijan and Rojo, and when you had Jay Brooks and and Baxter, and you had Jaden Blue and Trey Weisner. I need to see that 6-0 line package. I need to see it come back. You know what I mean? Hell, make John Turntine the 6-0 lineman. I don't care, right? But I think it's something that that variety helps the offense. I would love to see Sark bring in that red package that he had at Alabama. When he had four wide receivers, he had a 10 personnel package. I know he loves the tight end. Would never think of taking the tight end off the field, but it's an exotic way for you to present basically the strength of your offense, which is Arch Manning and your receivers. You could put Mosley, Wingo, Coleman, and Jermaine Bishop out there at one time and just hunt matchups and go, I know you ain't got enough guys that can defend these weapons successfully. You don't. And I see Sark's got to get back to being creative. That was last year was the least creative in terms of exotic personnel packages that we've seen from Sark. You were basically 95% or something like that, 11 and 12 personnel. That's it. Now, except Sark may not have felt he could trust the offense getting into the playbook with the offensive line playing at a subpar level. That could be it. But this season, there really isn't an excuse because you had off season to correct all that. So I expect you to be at your creative best this season. So
to defend my take, because I understand 40 is crazy. Only 5 teams have done it in the last 5 years in the SEC. Plus, you're playing a 9th SEC game. One of those teams is still Arkansas. So, hey, keep that in mind. But point is, Texas, they averaged 30.8 points per game this year. Again, there were 4 games in which they scored just 1 touchdown. Still averaging north of 30. Pretty good line. I still think Texas this year, the expectation is they'll be healthier to begin the year. They didn't have Mosley. They didn't have DeAndre Moore for half the year to start. So, look, I'm not trying to sunshine pump or get expectations too high. It was a bold take. It was a hot take. So that's what these are for. But I do think that this is an offense coming into a year that might be Sark's best. And at the quarterback position, I think he's going to be the best single quarterback that we've seen for Texas, given the ability to run, evade sacks, and extend plays. So that's where we're at after one spring ball practice. We'll see what we get after spring and going into summer. So high expectations from me, at least, with this side of the ball.
Okay, here's my last stat for you in this conversation about explosive plays. So I went and looked at drives that Texas had this past season with an explosive play. So a 20-plus yard play. So any drive, they had a 20-plus yard play. And then I looked at all the drives without a 20-plus yard play. Just versus Power 4 teams, I take the non-Power 4 teams out of it. They distort the sample a lot of the times. And here are the numbers. And I did Sunday school about this. Your score rate, just scoring field goal or touchdown, your score rate on drives where you had an explosive play, over 70% score rate. Your touchdown rate is over 55% touchdown rate when you have a 20-plus yard play on a drive. And your points per drive is over 4.5 points per drive. To put that into perspective, no team in the country averaged more than 4 points per drive. Mm-hmm. North Texas was at 3.79. So when you have explosive plays, your offense is like one of the best. It's the best offense in the country. It's rolling when you have an explosive play. When you don't, here are the numbers. Without a 20-plus yard play, any drive, your score rate is 20%, your touchdown rate is 10%, and your points per drive is a little over 1 point per drive when you don't have a 20-plus yard play. That would put you in the same boat with Oklahoma State at 1.08. They were 134 scored offense in the country. So when you don't have an explosive play, you are basically one of the worst offenses, if not the worst offense in the country. When you do have an explosive play, you're basically the best offense in the country. That's why Sark just needs explosive plays. I mean, it'd be great for him to be great. I mean, efficient and strategic and tactical on third down and red zone. I think we're all waiting for Sark to mature into being a better red zone and third down play caller, because I think he is on his way to doing that. And if not, Arch could just save him with his scrambling ability and running ability. But what Sark has always been good at is dialing up big plays. He's a big game hunter. He is. And sometimes we don't like it. Sometimes it's annoying. Like, remember early on in Texas, he's chunking it deep all the time. And then sometimes, like you said, CJ, he kind of run out of plays and they would just try to chucking fades against certain teams. Remember Georgia start chunking it deep, just kind of run out of concepts. But he is a really good big play designer, and he dials up as well as anybody. That's what he's got to do this season in a nutshell.
Yeah.
All right.
I like that. That number is fun because points per possession is how I base how successful an offense is.
Exactly. In a modern era. And when he gets explosive plays, nobody's offense is better than Sark's, arguably. All right, let's get a couple of questions in, and then we'll dive into some more topics. Patrick here. Thank you, Patrick. Says, projections for Wardell Mack. This is good. Nobody asked about Wardell Mack. Thank you for that, Patrick. We appreciate that. Wardell Mack actually, if you look at the analytics coverage-wise, he actually measures out pretty well analytically. Wardell Mack is just kind of right now lost in the rotation. Because I think he's working third nickel. Is he working the third nickel?
Yeah, second, third, depending on when and where.
Exactly, right. Good point. And he's working corner and nickel, right? I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And maybe that's what he played. I would say last year he played corner, so I know this year he may be working him at nickel. I like Wardell Mack. I don't know if he's gonna break into this rotation in this secondary though. I don't know if I see that unless I'm knocking on wood. There are some injuries, and I think there are a couple of guys like that. But for him, he's a veteran now on the squad. I think they have the nickels they trust. I think Grayson Littleton and Bo Masco are going to be the two nickels they trust. I think they have the corners they trust because Bo Masco and Grayson Littleton will also be guys that work at corner potentially for them. And they got a Cade Phillips. I'm not sure what they're really doing with Kobe Black. But Kobe Black is still working corner, so I imagine he's the second team corner for them as well. So I mean, he's got some work to do if he's gonna break into like the rotation in his secondary. And there's no doubt because right now he's not a part of the top 6 DBs. I don't think, not even close, actually.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, right? Because they fought to keep him out of the portal. He was sitting there thinking, I might be entering. I might be headed back home. I don't know what the plan is for me. There's a new defensive coordinator coming in, and Texas retained him. So the idea behind that is, hey, maybe there's something on the field for him. But as we've talked about, you feel good about your top 4, maybe 5 guys at corner at the spot, not to mention Samari Matthews and Hayward Howard Jr. coming in behind him. So it's a crowded room. If you're Wardell Mack, this is a big spring specifically at the nickel spot to say, okay, they need to get looks at me here. Before Phil Sami gets healthy, before they bump him down to the spot that I'm at, I can fend off a Yaheem Riley, or I can fend off, anyone else that's going to be seeing snaps at nickel. He's a guy that just kind of gets lost in the bunch of really talented pieces right now, but he remains talented. And to your point, Rod, when he's on the field, I mean, he makes plays on the football. He gets hands on the ball. He had a diving interception 2 years ago, the back of the end zone in garbage time. We sat there and said, whoa, that might have been one of the better plays of the season from a defensive back. So we'll see what this spring looks like, but there's opportunity for him to make an impact at nickel right now and then kind of branch out beyond that moving forward.
Yeah, and I think it's good that you got a new defensive coordinator. Obviously, it was already established with PK kind of what his role was going to be. Bring in Muschamp. I mean, Muschamp has a totally different perspective on the secondary. You got to bring in Blake Gideon back, so at least he has familiarity there. But he's working, I'm sure, actually Muschamp's working with the nickel, so and Orfe. So it'll be interesting to see if Wardell Mack can make some plays this spring. Like, how much do we hear about Wardell Mack? Like, oh man, he's making plays. Remember we were hearing about Warren Roberson last year.
We're hearing about Warren Roberson again this year too. Yeah,
no, he had his that game he had against LA. Against Michigan, that was the best game he had as a player. Like he was one of your best players. And I'll say this too, strangely enough, Warren Roberson, like I said, analytically, he grades out as one of your best defensive backs. And I know it doesn't always match the eye test, but I'm telling you, and I've given the numbers a couple of times. It's crazy how he measures up. I probably got him here somewhere in my notes. It's wild that what analytics say about him in terms of yards per reception given up, or passer rating allowed, all those different types of things. But it doesn't match the eye test with me either. But I could be thinking about special teams with Warren Roberson too, where I think he's out of place in special teams. Like he just doesn't seem comfortable. But he made a lot of plays on defense in that Michigan game. Yep. And I've never seen him play with that much confidence. And he was physical, which is why I know Muschamp was like, physical. He was laying the wood on guys, man. He had a couple of hits in that game that were big time. So we'll see. The secondary is definitely one of the places to spring. There should be movement there. You got a spot open opposite Jelani McDonald, but even with a lot of guys being out, you should see separation. You should see some guys moving up. You might see some guys moving down too.
Yeah. Coach, can I ask you the question on if you're Muschamp now, you look at that bowl game, and it was a different defense, right? Johnny Nansen called the defense maybe a little stickier in press man coverage on the outside. How much of that do you use as a precursor of, okay, I know what traits and skills they have versus the rest of the season where it was PK's full scheme? Is it just, all right, it's just another game to monitor and evaluate? Or is it like, okay, this is kind of what we intend to use with the press man on the outside and some more aggressive blitzes?
Yeah, I think it's just something that he evaluates, and then he takes a good look the 4 weeks of spring practice and see how that fits into his scheme. I don't think it's really hard to hold something against a guy when you don't know for sure what he's being coached to do, good or bad. And so he's going to have to fit in a Muschamp scheme. That's the bottom line. All these guys are going to have to fit in a Muschamp scheme, and regardless of what they've done in the past. It's what they can show them this spring will determine who's going to be getting the reps, when the 26th season starts.
I do think they'll play more man, at least the same amount, if not more man coverage. And last year, they were probably around 28% man coverage rate, which is a lot higher than they were in 2024 when they were probably less than 20% man coverage rate. I think that's part of them being more aggressive. I'm with you, CJ. I think they play a little more press man too, especially with a young Cade Phillips out there. Just like his body type for that. And we'll see. Bo Maskell played a lot of press coverage actually at Rutgers. So that would lend to that credibility to that theory. And also, I think they're going to play still a lot of single high coverages, cover 3, cover 1. Because I don't want to. Nobody, you're going to waste Jelani McDonald by playing him too high a ton. I mean, don't we think that'd be a waste? He can do it. He can just play a 2 high safety, but to me, that'd be more of a waste of his versatility. So in order to make sure you maximize and weaponize Jelani McDonald, I see them playing 2 high shell coverages more than 50% of the time because you got to get him in the box. You got to get him on the edge. You want to blitz him, make him a spy, hold player, all that. To do all that, you got to play single high coverages. And to play more man, you're playing single high coverage. So that's kind of how I see that going too. Whoever can, to the coach's point, whoever fits that scheme is probably going to be playing the most. All right, we got some super chats here. Let's john them up. Oh, Billy, thank you, Billy, for the super chat. We appreciate that very much. He says, would a home loss be a disappointment? Oh, this is a good question. This is a good question. All right, y'all want me to go through the home? Let's go through the home schedule real quick.
We got it.
There you go. Boom. That's why I love my man, Matt. That's why he's the best in the business. You got Texas State at home. You got Ohio State at home. UTSA at home. Florida at home. Ole Miss at home. Mississippi State and Arkansas at home. Which one? I mean, the Ole Miss is going to be a good team with Trinidad Chambers, the running back Lacey. I mean, that's going to be good offense coming in and should be a good team. Ohio State's going to be a good team. So is there shame? The Ohio State one, I mean, it'd be nice for Texas to get over the hump there because they're losing a ton of talent, but they still have a ton of talent. It's Ohio State. Those 2 losses won't hurt as much because to me, those are teams with a lot of talent, and Ohio State has light talent. Ole Miss just has a really good playmaking quarterback and one of the best running backs in the country. And they just came off a playoff appearance, so they got a lot of momentum in their program. Still would hurt, but not as much. But those losses that I may be able to stomach, maybe.
Not stomaching well, let me preface this. A loss to Florida at home, not stomaching that one bit. That would be a huge disappointment, considering that should be a game that, 1, the fan base is excited for, and 2, the team has had circled because of what happened a year ago. The only loss that I see or potentially could see that would not be somewhat of a disappointment is Ohio State. It's Ohio State. You lose to Ohio State, I mean, not many teams beat Ohio State, right? So that's the only one that I would see as excusable. Beyond that, you should be winning every game at home in 2026.
Coach, what are your thoughts on it?
I think any loss at home in 26 is going to be a disappointment.
Yep.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, it's Arch's last year, man.
Yeah.
And you loaded up too, so I think Texas it surely will be, but I'm with CJ. Ohio State, when it's like, man, it's Ohio State. They got tons of talent, and that's early on in the season. But Texas should be ready for them this year. After all they lost, they're gonna have Ohio State may have guys. They may end up having 4 top 10 picks.
Yep.
Right now, everything's trending. I don't even know how the hell they didn't make that defense. I mean, it was a really good defense, but they should have went further in the playoffs with that kind of talent, with 4 top 10 picks on the team. But anyway, no shame in losing that one. But the Ole Miss one, dude, Ole Miss's offense is gonna be pretty nice with Trinidad Chambers. That's gonna be and they got Lacey in the backfield. That's gonna be a challenge. I'm telling you.
New scheme is going to be interesting. How does that match up versus what we saw a year ago? So, again, do they have the magic in them? Does Trinidad have the magic in them to get them back to where they were a year ago? Perhaps. He's a hell of a football player. He's probably the only quarterback in the conference right now that you could say is on par with Arch or definitively better. He's the only one that would have an argument. So,
agreed.
It's not, it wouldn't be crazy to say that Ole Miss would be competitive in Texas. Not one bit. Of the guys that we just saw outside of Ohio State, they're probably expected to be the most competitive. Texas should beat Arkansas. It should beat Mississippi State. Florida, again, I think that game is one that's been circled by Sark, by everybody on that staff, by the team, and saying, you're not doing this twice. You will not dictate what happens to our season twice. Not again.
Yeah, Florida's got some. They kept some good players, as Texas knows, because
quarterback's good. Aaron Philo. The country will learn about Aaron Philo. He's a stud.
Is that quarterback?
Georgia Tech transfer, Rod. He's got a cannon.
Yeah, I mean, they got maybe one of the best. I mean, top 3 running back in a guy Longhorn fans coveted, of course. And I mean, did they keep the young freshman that lit up Texas, Dallas Wilson? Is he still there?
He's still there. He's been in a boot this spring, so.
I love the only game that he wrecked shop in was the Texas game, and he just disappeared.
Can I share a quick story on that? Because I was in the booth for that game up in Gainesville, and it's middle of the fourth quarter. Texas has the ball. They're coming out of a timeout, and in that press box, they have kind of the announcements of game trends, I guess, or anything that happens that was out of the ordinary. And I remember they were going into a commercial break or something, like a punt or change of possession or something, and the SID or play the PA guy in the press box goes, just wanted to let the media aware of some records set by Florida freshman wide receiver Dallas Wilson. I just go, oh hell, here we go. I just watched it for 3 hours. Now I got to hear about it. Here we go. Setting records for most receptions in a first career game for a true freshman. Dallas Wilson is 6. Set a freshman record for yards in a first career game as a true freshman, 122. Most career touchdowns for a game as a true freshman at Florida history. And I'm like, okay, like I gotta leave, right? Like that. I saw all this happen. I don't need to be reminded as Arch has got turf stain sticking out his helmet. Like, all right, like this isn't. That's not what I want to hear right now.
No, because you're right. But you're right. He set all those records, and I didn't hear much about him. I know he's a stud. I get that. I mean, but that's honestly, guys, that was a game that made me realize how that defense relied on Malik Muhammad and how we didn't appreciate Malik Muhammad. There's a good chance if you have Malik Muhammad in that game. I'm not saying he gonna lock him down and shut him down, but that's kind of what they went after the young DBs without Malik Muhammad. They did. And they remember they went deep a couple of times with that guy. And I mean, Malik Muhammad, he allowed 15 yards per game as a corner. This is from Pro Football Focus. 57 passer rating allowed, 1 touchdown allowed in 366 coverage snaps. He was a lot better than we gave him credit for last season. I think we criticized him, but he ended up being a lot better than we gave him credit for.
Yeah, very reliable.
Very reliable. Exactly. That game, I think, made us realize how valuable he was. Real Brent Betts here says, am I the only one that notices the mainstream media never talks about Emmett Mosley and goes straight to Khalil Lockett? People don't know how good Emmett is. Gonna be great. Number 3. Man, you're right. It's the other mainstream media, because I think we talk about Emmett Mosley a ton on here, because I've talked about we talked about how, really he doesn't have like a real weakness in his game either. Like he's good at almost everything. He's probably one of your best blockers on the perimeter, if not that. His contested catch ability is really, really good. Yak is probably underrated in his ability. His body control, we've seen that from the game-winning touchdown that he had against Mississippi State. Beautiful body control. And as a big slot, I think he's going to add an element to the Texas offense they hadn't seen, because usually Texas slots are small, shifty. You got smaller, shifty guys. DeAndre Moore is one of guys. They put X in the slot. Sometimes Jay Witt was in the slot. But Emmett Mosley is a little bit bigger. I think you could get back to. I think Jay Witt would run some of those slot fades, some of the more vertical concepts from the slot with Emmett Mosley in the slot, just because he has such a physical presence at 6'2", but really good body control and catch radius.
Yeah. So how does Khalil Lockett play into this offense this fall? Where's his spot going to be?
It's a good question, because right now on the outside, you're anticipating Cam Coleman and Ryan Wingo. He's going to be fighting right now behind one of them. The expectation is it's behind Wingo. Obviously, he'll be cross-trained to learn all the spots, as most of these wide receivers are. But an outside guy that will come on or get on the field whenever Coleman or Wingo can't go. And, Coach, we've talked about it plenty. How wide does that circle of trust get at wide receiver? Well, this is the time in which Khalil learns and earns that trust, is when he's running with the first team in the spring. So, he's definitely, and Rod, we've talked about this, he looks like he's put every ounce of his effort into improving. Yeah. Does that mean it'll show up in the fall? We'll have to wait and see. but it looks like, based off of the first week, 2 practices that we were able to attend, he's very intent on where he needs to be, where his routes need to be broken off at, extending his hand so that the ball's not caught with his body. He's got great hands, but it's going to be as that 4th, maybe 5th wide receiver, depending on how then Sark views a Jermaine Bishop.
Coach, what do you think of Emmett Mosley? What are your thoughts about Mosley?
Oh, I'm with you. I think he's one of the best perimeter blockers we have.
Yep.
I mean, to me, he's proven himself. I think he's worthy of getting 70% of the snaps. I really do. I think he's a great player. I think he's, but he just doesn't somehow. I just don't think he's gotten the credit that he deserves.
Yeah.
I think he's like an unsung hero, not really a hero, but I mean, the guy can play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he can play. And that's sparked my question about Khalid. I mean, where, with the talented freshman coming in, where does Khalid fit into that? Because I don't see him dethroning Emmett Mosley and taking snaps away from Emmett. He's not going to take snaps away from Ryan. He's not going to take snaps away from Coleman unless they just need a break or there's an injury or something like that. But I think Emmett Mosley is should and will be a vital part of our offense next year because you've got so much attention on those outside guys.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you 100%. And we saw 2024, we saw a lot of slot fades, corner routes.
I feel like that, yeah.
DeAndre Moore, right from that slot. We didn't see a lot a year ago, which was kind of surprising given, hey, Mosley's a heck of a talent. He put up the 2nd most receiving yards in Stanford history as a true freshman. So my question, and Rod, when you were talking about seeing the red package, what Sark used at Alabama with the 4 wide receivers taking a tight end off the field, could Mosley then be that big body a guy that you could use as a guy to crack a linebacker, someone to clear up, kind of maybe as a B gap insert at times? Because look, the Rams and McVay do something very similar. I know that they love 12, 13 personnel with their tight ends, but they use Jordan Whittington in a way.
Yes, they do.
That they just say, hey, you're in a way that you're going to be a fullback on this play. You're going to be a receiver on this play. You're going to act like a tight end on this play, but all together, because of you being on the field, defenses have to react to the personnel that you are classified at. So could Mosley be that for Texas? I think is a question that's worth asking.
That's a great question.
It is, CJ, because I remember some points last year, Coach, where they would get into that condensed set, and they would run that insert play, except they would use like Parker Livingston sometimes. He like running there as kind of a lead blocker on some of those bunch sets off of that condensed formation. And I remember when Jordan Whittington was being drafted, they literally I don't know if it's the Rams. I think it was just in a interview, like a combine interview or one of the pre-draft interviews. They asked them, what's your favorite play? And usually when they ask a receiver that, the receiver would tell them, oh, I like this play because I run the post route. I didn't run a post corner. Oh, I like the double move and do this. And he said, Jordan Williams mentioned duo. He literally was like, no, I love duo. We'd get in a bunch set, in a condensed set, and he said basically that's how Sark wanted to end the game, by just grinding down on an opponent and wearing him down by running duo over and over and over again. And he said I would just get to block duo. I'd block linebackers. I'd get down there in the box and block. And then this coach scouts are like, what the hell? You're a receiver. What are you? But the Rams loved it because the Rams were running a ton of duo. They were running more duo than anybody in the league. They were like, we would love to have a cheap receiver that knows how to block on duo. And they
not only knows how to block, but likes to block.
Exactly. Knows and loves it. And that was one of the data points. They were like, no, he likes blocking one of our favorite run plays. Done. Crazy how it works, man. Works like that.
Yeah.
All right. Before we're going to ask a couple more questions, but let's thank our sponsors one more time before we end tonight's live stream. Let's thank our friends at Hardgrove Roofing really quickly. We appreciate Hardgrove Roofing, and you will as well. They do a great job, no matter if you're in Texas, Louisiana, or Arkansas, because they have offices in all of those states. They're the most pro-burnt orange roofing company out there, and right now they're offering a free roof inspection, 512-645-3202. Reach out to them today. They offer superior, reliable service. We've had several activations recommendations with the fine folks over at Hardgrove Roofing so we can vouch for their character and also vouch for their mission statement, which is to provide you with the best customer service possible. So don't trust anybody else with your roofing. Know who's on your roof with our friends at hardgroveroofing.com. Also, let's thank our friends, the lead sponsor of tonight's live stream, our friends at Von Lane. Von Lane is a great service. Like I said, I've dropped a friend off at the airport earlier this week. And yes, I can, as a witness to it, I can tell you, it is crazy what's going on at the airport. You got lines that are out the door for security and for TSA. You don't worry about that. If you're actually traveling any of the major cities in and around the great state of Texas, try Von Lane service. They provide first-class travel experience on the ground. You board in minutes at a private hotel terminal. You settle into one of just 22 oversized leather seats. You enjoy complimentary Wi-Fi, snacks, beverages, and hot towel service on every trip. They've upgraded the entire fleet with Starlink internet, so the Wi-Fi is faster and reliable. And right now, they serve Austin, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Fort Worth, Plano, the Woodlands, Nashville, Memphis, Atlanta, and Knoxville. And if you're traveling with a team or a group, you can charter your own Von Lane coach and design the trip from pickup to drop off. Visit vonlane.com. And if it's your first time riding, you can use the code OTF. That's OTF26, OTF26 at checkout, and you'll receive $20 off your first ride with Von Lane. That's Von Lane, your private jet on wheels. Matter of fact, I need to hit up Von Lane because I got to make me some reservations. I got a couple of places. I got to go to Houston. I need to go to Dallas, and I need to make my reservations for Von Lane coming up in April. Anyway, all right. Let's a couple of questions here before we end tonight's live stream from my man CB. So we appreciate CB as always. Says, when's the last time Texas won the state championship? Right? I know Mac took pride in that and put it on bowl rings. Yeah, Mac was – see, this was a different era in the Big 12, and it meant basically you win all the games in the state of Texas. And Mac was right. We used to make fun of him, but he was right. If you won all the games in the state of Texas, there was a good chance in the Big 12 you was going to end up in the Big 12 championship. That means you won all your home games. You beat Oklahoma usually. And that usually meant, oh, man, because you took care of business on the road against, I don't know, Kansas or Iowa State, Baylor, or Kansas. You know what I mean? Kansas State Kansas State and Nebraska were probably some of your toughest road outside the state games in the Big 12. But still, they weren't powerhouses. K-State was tough as hell to beat. Just purple kryptonite. But for the most part, you had one or two challenges outside the state a year, maybe. So if you win the state title, you get to the Big 12 title game, and you can take care of business. That meant beating Oklahoma at the time. And as we know, that was easier said than done for my teams and for the teams for Mac. Texas won the state title this past year, I believe. Right? They didn't lose any games in the state.
Yep.
Right? They won all the games. Still SEC, baby.
Don't get as many.
They lost to Florida on the road, lost to Georgia on the road, lost to Ohio State on the road. So the state title don't matter as much because you're not in the Big 12. It was a Big 12 ecosystem thing. SEC, a different animal altogether. So, all right. CJ, one more question for you from Chris from CB. Sorry, I called you Chris, CB. I don't know why I called you that. CJ, does Texas get out of Dayton? CB wants to know.
It's a good question. Look, they've played NC State once before, beat them in Maui 102-97. So if anything, expect a high-scoring game again here in Dayton. But I want to say yes. I just don't know. This team's hot and cold, right? I mean, they finished the year 1-4, lost 5 of their last 6 to end the season. So things are basically a coin flip at this side. What kind of perimeter shooting do you get against NC State? That's going to be the big one. What kind of defense do you get, especially at the guard spot? NC State's got a fantastic point guard. But I will say this, should you win that game, BYU is they're not close to invincible.
Okay.
They're beatable.
Nice.
Is really good. Rob Wright, good. You don't have much outside of that. And BYU's been falling like a rock over the last 3 weeks of the season as well.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there, CJ. And great stuff as well, Coach. Appreciate all of your wisdom and the levity. Appreciate you, CJ. Great nuggets as always. Thank you to Matthew behind the scenes. He's the real MVP. Nobody does it better. And thanks to each and every one of you for the super chats and the questions and participation. You make this hour fly by. Thanks to our sponsors as well. Thank you to Von Lane, vonlane.com, and thank you to Hardgrove Roofing, hardgroveroofing.com. If we missed any of your questions, we apologize about that. Please direct them to the gentleman at Coffee and Football bright and early tomorrow morning at 8:15. That'll be Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton. And then on Tuesday Actually, Tuesday, we'll have your Tuesday live stream. But I also know Texas will be playing, so we're going to be trying to figure out some stuff. We'll let you know how the live stream's going to go, because I know Texas is going to be playing. We don't want to conflict with that, but we might want to do something special for that. All right. So in the meantime, for Coach and for CJ and for Matthew, I'm Lifetime Longhorn Ride Papers. Until next time, hook 'em horns.